What's up, guys? DrFeelGood here, back again with another video prescription. And today I want to talk about my Nintendo Switch 5 months later. Okay, this is my experience, my thoughts. And I know you're thinking, but DrFeelGood, the title of this video says expectations versus objectivity. And you will be correct. Very observant. But the reason why I mentioned those two things, that my Nintendo Switch, 5 months later versus, of course, the title of the video, is because over the last 5 months, I've been seeing a lot of videos and comments toward the negative for the most part. Not extremely negative, at least not all the time, but toward the negative. A lot of people, whether it be Nintendo fans or opposing, have a lot of things to say about what the Switch should have, needs to have, better get, whatever, in order to be a viable console, or, to, hell, I don't know, to be socially accepted. Let's just say that. But let me just give you my thoughts, okay? Check this out. First up, I've been seeing a lot of comments regarding the Nintendo Switch network and its cost. It's Nintendo announced it's going to be $20 for a year, right? That's already a third of the price people are paying for Xbox Live Gold and PlayStation Plus. Okay? And those two are actually required to play games online, whereas Nintendo says some games may require it, but not all. But that's a different discussion for a different video, maybe. Moving on. But people have been saying that, with everything that's happened thus far, with the launch of the app, the smartphone app, and the online multiplayer for games such as Mario Kart, Splatoon 2, ARMS, things like that, and even just other features they feel are missing, they feel like, well, by the time the service, becomes paid, they better have all this ironed out. It better be good. Let me tell you something. For $20 a year, Nintendo's online service does not have to be on par with Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus. Well, I'll just say Xbox Live. PlayStation Plus sucks. But let's be objective about this. That's why I said expectations versus objectivity. If the Nintendo Network service was $60 a year, hell, I'll even go so far as to say $40. Then one could say, well, it better be on par with or somewhere comparable to the leading person, such as, which in this case would be Xbox Live Gold. At that point, yes, I would fully agree with you. But for $20 a year, it doesn't have to be on par with Xbox Live Gold. It really doesn't. Think about what you're paying. If you're willing to pay $60 a year for Xbox Live Gold, which is the best right now amongst consoles, and of course PlayStation Plus, in my opinion, ranks last because of all the hacking and all the required maintenance, but to most gamers it's second. And then you have the Wii U, which is completely free, and I think it's second place overall, to be honest. But even still, I would say objectively, from my point of view, it needs to be better than the Wii U, but it does not have to be better than Xbox Live. I know you may be thinking, DrFeelGood, what the Listen, do I want it to be on par with Gold? No, I want it to be better than Xbox Live. I want it to be better. But for the price that they are charging, it does not have to be. That's all I'm saying. If you go out there and buy a $300,000 car, right? That's your car. Do you expect me and my $50,000 car to essentially be as good as yours? No, you don't expect that. You do not expect that. Now, I'm not saying that it never can be, but you don't expect something that costs more money, costs less money, to be on par with something that costs more money. You don't really expect that, and you should not expect that. To me, as long as the service is functioning, it's fine. All right? I'm just saying. Objectively, since it only costs a third of the price of the other two services, I objectively only expect, at the very least, a third of the functionality and or reliability. I'm not saying that's what I want. I'm saying that that's what I can expect objectively, okay? People always want Nintendo to offer the best while charging the least. That is so unfair, and that's not realistic in the business world. It really isn't. But let's move on. I hear a lot of people talking about, man, the Switch was a rush console. It don't even have a web browser. The Switch does not have to have a web browser. From my point of view, let me tell you why. I'm over 30 years old. I have gamed on Ataris, the Nintendo, the NES, the Genesis, the Super Nintendo, the Master System. So basically from Atari all the way up to now with the Switch. I've owned multiple consoles across every single generation. Okay? This whole web browser stuff, of course, we know the Dreamcast had a half-ass web browser. All right, we know that. At the end of the day, that's not something I use on the Dreamcast. I didn't take advantage of then. And even today, the only web browser I've used consistently is the one on the Wii U because it's actually the most efficient. It's the best web browser across consoles, period. That's a fact. I use it to watch anime. That's it. But a gaming console does not need a web browser. My phone has a web browser. A tablet has a web browser. Why does my console need one? I'm being very serious. I'm not trying to be funny, but ask yourselves, does your console really need a web browser? That is not something that I take advantage of or care to use that often. I'm just saying. A dedicated gaming console does not need a web browser. It's cool and convenient. I will say that. Well, probably not really convenient, but it's cool. But at the same time, let's be honest about something. It's not a need. I don't browse the web on my Wii U to search different websites. Nor did I do it on a PS4, the PS3, the Xbox One, or the Xbox 360. I never did it. They have web browsers. They were garbage. Even with the Wii, it had a web browser. Didn't care to use it that much. I could more easily go to my smartphone even back then and go to a website quicker than I could on my Wii. Just saying. Next up. I've heard various people in podcasts and videos saying, the Switch, it needs a messaging system so I can, message my friends. No, it doesn't. Would I like one? Yeah. Would I use it? To be honest, about 10, maybe 20% of the time. But while I do agree it would be cool and convenient, it is not needed. See, we have this expectation, the Xbox 360 had it, and the PS3 had it. The Xbox One has it. The PS4 has it. Even the Wii U had it to a lesser extent. You include Miiverse or whatever, and it had the video app on there as well. And we think to ourselves, well, if these consoles have had it, we expect any consoles following to have it. Wow. Okay. That's like me saying, well, since this car 8 years ago had a V8. I expect every car and model to have a V8 from here on out, and we all know that is not the case. That's like saying, hey, well, since this console was able to do this back then, I expect all consoles to do this from here on out. That's not an industry standard. It's become expected, but it's not a standard. So, although having a messaging system can't hurt the console, I don't need it because honestly, the friends I know in gaming, such as Liger Vin Duo, The Good Shepherd, Sprite Remix, SK Massive, Perry Fan, Double M, Triple M, and various other people. Sorry if I didn't mention you by name, but various other people, you know who you are. I either message them on Google Plus and to a lesser extent Facebook, or many of them, the closer ones, I actually have their phone number or I contact them via Hangout text messaging. I do that a lot quicker than turning on my console, finding them in my friends list, and sending them a message that if they're not online, I have to wait until they get online to actually see it. So let's say that person doesn't have to switch to them all day, they're at work. Well, I've just sent them a message, let's say at noon. They don't get off work until 6. They won't get home until roughly 7. They won't see the message until 7 p.m. So what will be the purpose of sending me a message on the console? But if I text them using my phone or send a message via Google+, more than likely they have their smartphone with them and they'll see it either immediately or in the immediate future. Just saying. See, most people today look at their smartphones for any and all information, especially notifications. Come on now, people. Seriously. It's just a lot easier to send text messages or a message of any kind, whether it be Facebook, Google+, whatever, or an actual SMS using your smartphone. That's something that's always on, always around you, requires little to no effort. Just saying. Next up, I hear, of course, the most controversial thing thus far, the switch voice chat. It doesn't have the same quality as other established voice chat apps, such as Skype and Hangout, Discord and whoever else. Okay, I will give you that. It's not of the same quality. But let's get one thing straight. It is much better quality than what you get on the Xbox 360, the Xbox One, the PS3, and the PS4. It's much better. But here's the main issue I have. How is it that you guys expect Nintendo, of which this is their very first voice chat application for a smartphone, their very first time doing this, you expect them to be on par or better than those that have either been established or had tons of updates? You know how long Hangouts has been around? Years. You know how long Skype has been around? Years. Discord? Years. But you guys are expecting Nintendo's application on a smartphone. I understand these other ones went to smartphones, but they weren't that good when they first started. Let's be honest. But you expect Nintendo to be that good, if not better, the first time around. And I hear people using the excuse, well, they can easily reach out to people and find out how they did it. Yeah, you're right, they could. It's not always free, for one. But two, it's their first time. Nintendo likes to do things their own way. Give them the chance to grow the same way we gave Hangouts a chance to grow, the same way you gave Skype a chance to grow. Give them a chance to grow. Was Hangouts as good as it is now? Back then as it is now? Of course not. It wasn't even close. You're comparing Nintendo's first offering to an app that has been around for a decade and had countless updates and patches and upgrades. That's not fair. That is not fair, people. Just because something is available on the same device does not mean it should be of the same quality. I'm just saying. I can see Hot Pockets on the store shelf, and I can see a cheap brand right next to it. Doesn't mean the cheap brand is going to be of the same quality as the known brand. No, they can be on the same shelf. It does not matter. It does not matter. And plus, this is one of the first few times. Keep in mind, Nintendo likes to usually do things and keep things in-house, kind of like Apple does. Their voice chat app is actually depending on a third-party device. This is something Nintendo typically does not do. They don't do it. So there's various other factors to consider here. I'm just saying. They're relying on the performance of a third-party device that they have no control over. They can't tell Android what to do. They can't tell Apple what to do. They can't tell Windows or whoever else what to do with their devices. They can't. Or their OSs. Me personally, I'm already satisfied with the current quality of the voice chat app. I tried it with Splatoon 2, with Shadow Fox, and Gilligan Stash, and a few others. I was satisfied with it. To me, it was immediately better than what the, Xbox and PlayStation have to offer. Ever. It's already better. And that is actually, believe it or not, that's good enough for me. That's good enough for me. I'm not settling, but that's good enough. It is not perfect, nor is it on par with Hangouts, but I never expected it to be because Hangouts is well established. It's been around for many years. Just saying, let's be fair. Let's move on. Of course, I keep hearing this, although the games have been constantly flowing onto the system. I keep hearing people saying the Switch, needs Virtual Console. Hurry up with that, Nintendo. Let's be honest. Virtual Console was nothing more than a tab or streamlined service for legacy and classic games. That's pretty much what it was for. It was basically a menu, a section they put all the games at. Similar to eShop, eShop houses everything. Virtual Console was strictly for legacy and classic games, all right? The Switch has been getting constant indie titles, constant games into the new eShop. Classic games, new games, established games, whatever. To me, we don't actually need the Virtual Console menu. If they just brought every single game from the Wii U's Virtual Console and dropped it on there without having a Virtual Console tab, I'd be fine with that. But to me, Virtual Console is nothing but it was simply a categorized service or tab that you see in the system. That was it. Now, I do want them to group the games by console. I do think it should be done that way. Yeah. Show me the NES games, the Genesis games, or whatever, like you did on the Wii. So, yeah, show me that, to that effect. But you don't necessarily need the Virtual Console tab or designation. But let's say they didn't get Virtual Console games at all. You know what? I'd still be happy with my system. You want to know why? I didn't buy my Switch because it could play the games for it as well as Virtual Console. I bought my Switch because I know I'm getting Nintendo games. New Nintendo games. That's it. If the Switch did not get a Virtual Console at all, believe it or not, people, I would still be satisfied with my purchase. I would still feel it was worth $300. Dead serious. It does not need it. And look at the PlayStation fans. They've been very happy with not having backwards compatibility. Although, in a sense, it does with the constant remasters. But you get what I'm saying. It's not something I need. Okay? I have a lot of Virtual Console games. A lot of them. A whole bunch. But it's not something that I need. That wasn't part of the purchase, my decision to purchase a Nintendo Switch or Wii U or Wii or an Xbox 360 or an Xbox One. I didn't buy it because, I can play these classic games on it. I didn't buy an Xbox 360 for Xbox Live Arcade. I'm just saying. It's not needed. It's cool. Do I want it? You bet your ass I do. But it's not needed. It's not needed. The Switch will still be a great console, but it can do so. It will still be a great console without it. That's all I'm saying. Moving on. This is one I'm still hearing today. The Switch needs streaming services such as Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, whatever. No, it don't. No, it does not. Let me say this. Excuse me. Although cool and or convenient, me personally, I would much rather watch such things on my smartphone when I'm not at home. Let me tell you why. The Switch is a 6.2-inch tablet, the same size as a Wii U gamepad screen. It is. It is much easier for me to pull out my mid-tier smartphone that's constantly connected to 4G LTE where in my metroplex, in my metropolitan area, I typically get nothing less than 20 megabits per second. I've gotten as high as 95. It's much easier for me to pull out that phone, tap the Netflix icon. My phone is already on. Turn the screen on, tap the Netflix icon, boom, it loads up in 5 seconds. I'm watching a movie. Then me have to turn on my switch, connect it to my, I have to turn on my switch, then switch my phone into hotspot mode. Then connect my switch to the hotspot if I don't already have it set up there. And then use my switch to tap the Netflix icon and then watch a movie. Yeah, I get a bigger screen, 6.2 inches opposed to my 5-inch phone. But even still, my phone is capable of 1080p screen. Switch is 720p. Not that that matters to me. It really don't. But even still, my phone fits in my pocket. I can pull it out anywhere and start watching. The Switch requires that cumbersome method to do so. It really does. Plus, why would I want to waste my Switch battery watching Netflix or streaming a movie or anime on it? Why would I want to waste my screen doing that? And plus, let's not forget, people, for most cellular providers, at least the major ones, hotspot is not unlimited. I have unlimited hotspot. I do. But most other companies, that at least that I know of, their hotspot is not unlimited. You may get 2 gigs with some, 5 gigs with another. Okay. You stream a movie in 1080p on Netflix, or in the Switch's case, 720p. You'll blow through your little 2 gigs every month real quick. You probably blow through that in 1 or 2 movies. I'm just saying. Now, I know some of you may be thinking, well, I use local Wi-Fi that's available. How many local Wi-Fis that are free and available to the public offer speeds above 5 megabits per second? Not many. And although Netflix may tell you, well, 5 megabits per second can get you 720p, it's shoddy 720p. You're going to see some drop in quality throughout the movie. But I'm just telling you, not many have speeds that high. And if they do, there's so many people on it that your speed may be bogged down to 1 megabit per second. It makes no point for this system to have those features. Do I want it to have Netflix and Hulu? Yeah. To me, the biggest one I want them to have is Vudu. Because I have like over 200 movies available on that. But I would love Netflix. I have Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime. Hell, even Stars. But I don't need those things on my gaming console. I rarely watch Netflix on my game consoles now. In fact, I only have it downloaded on my PS4 or my PS3. I took it off my Xbox 360 because I only had it on there because I didn't want to. That was pretty much my only major device for watching Netflix years ago. My Wii U has it, but that's because I can use it on a second screen while someone wants to play on their main television. But that's it. That it really is it. It's not something I depend on. I have dedicated devices for that, and I do mean dedicated, like the Roku 4K, the Roku 3. I have dedicated devices for Netflix that do it a lot better than any smart device. Just saying, people, that's not something you need. It's just much easier to do that stuff on your tablet or a smartphone. Let's keep going. And this is the most popular one. The Switch needs more major / popular third-party support. No, it don't. Would it be great? You're damn right it would. But it don't need it. Although it would be awesome to get all the big popular third-party games you see on the Xbox One and PS4, it is not needed. Let me give you a little example why. So far with the Switch, Nintendo has dropped one major title roughly every month, first party or exclusive, either first party or third party exclusive, which makes it second party, but one every month since its launch. We had Breath of the Wild and Bomberman R in March. In April, we had Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. You know that shit took off. And May, we had Ultra Street Fighter 2. That's an exclusive. And then June, we had ARMS. Yeah. July, we just got Splatoon 2, 3 weeks ago? A little bit over that. And of course, August, we're getting Mario Rabbids. September, I think it should be like Fire Emblem or something. And then we know October, we got Mario Odyssey. I could keep going. But we've been getting one major game every month since release. Keep in mind, I want the third-party games. I want the big popular titles. But it doesn't need them. I would love to have GTA 5. But I already have that on 360. But even if I didn't have it, and the Switch also has Lego City Undercover. Pretty much the same premise, just without the violence. I would love to have Call of Duty. But of course, we got a much better game called Splatoon 2. I would love to have Tekken. But we got ARMS. I would love to have Witcher 3, but Breath of the Wild, there's no competition there. There just isn't. I'm simply saying. It does not need it. It would be cool, and I do want it to get it, but it's not needed. Nintendo is pretty much taking care of themselves right now. They really are. I'm just saying. What is next? Oh, I guess there's nothing next that I should complain about. Now, I will say this. I do not want to keep hearing the excuses that smartphones have been doing these things for years. You know, with the voice chat apps are higher quality, and having all these things like Netflix and Hulu and all these things that smartphones have been doing. And of course, since the Switch is a tablet, a portable device, smart device, that it should have them too. No. Can your smartphone run Xenoblade Chronicles X? Can your smartphone run Breath of the Wild? Can your smartphone run Splatoon? Hell, even the first Splatoon. No. Not even your $1,000 smartphone can do it. Can't even play ARMS. Just saying. Even if it could, you would not use it for that. Let's be honest. Even if the Galaxy Note 8 coming out could run, let's just say, for example, it could run Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. You wouldn't play it on there. You wouldn't play it. You know what you be playing on your phone? Your $1,000 phone? Candy Crush. Facebook. Instagram, text messaging, web browsing, and making the occasional call. Yeah, that's all you want to do on the phone. That's it. Of course, some of you will be watching porn as well, but but you see what I'm saying? You keep using the excuse that, oh, well, smartphones have been doing this, and, oh, we had messages back on the 360. Who cares? That's what Microsoft wanted to do. You're not required to follow suit. Hey, I know someone out there that got their master's at the age of 18. Does that mean I should get my master's at the age of 18? I know someone that bought their first Mercedes-Benz at the age of 22. Does it mean I should have had one by the age of 22? No. Just because someone did something in the past does not mean you have to follow suit. You are free to be your own person. Nintendo's free to do things the way they want to do it. And so far, for over 100 years, it's worked for them. And you want to talk about strictly gaming, it's worked for them. 30 years. To me, the Switch does not need a cluttered or elaborate user interface. It doesn't. Having all that bullshit essentially slows down the UI really bad. Xbox One, anybody? Do you really want your UI to look like the PlayStation 3? I'm just saying. Although I agree it could use a little more flair. It could. I won't lie about that. If it didn't change from this point on, I will be content because I don't turn my Switch on to marvel at the menus. I don't turn it on to look at my moving avatar. I don't turn it on for that. I turn it on to play games. So I don't care if it has this elaborate UI with all these icons and shit that I'm never going to download or use. I don't care. The Switch is simplicity. I love it. The name is simple. The UI is simple. The console is fast. You never even have to turn the damn thing off. I would think you guys would appreciate that, especially the ones that have to buy a physical game and still install the shit. Come on. See, with the Switch, I knew I paid $300 for a Nintendo console that would get Nintendo games that I could also play anywhere. Not just at home and not just on the go. I never expected Netflix, a web browser, or any of this other bullshit most gamers expect in a gaming console. Why? Because when I purchased an NES, Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, N64, PlayStation 1, Sega Saturn, PlayStation 2, Sega Dreamcast, GameCube, Xbox, PS3, Xbox 360, Nintendo Wii, Xbox One, PS4, Wii U, even the Switch. I never considered or cared for those features. It wasn't something that when I was looking up the system to gauge my interest that, oh yeah, that feature right there, that's the defining feature that makes you buy this console. Never cared for, never thought about it. It was cool to have it, but that was never on my mind. I didn't buy a Wii U because I can send messages to my friends. I didn't buy an Xbox 360 because I can finally watch Netflix on a game console. I didn't buy it. I really did not buy it for that. If you bought a console for those small features, those non-gaming features, somebody needs to pray for you. It won't be me, but I know that sounds bad, but someone needs to pray for you. You need prayer. If you bought a gaming console for non-gaming features, something is wrong with you. The only exception I would allow would be the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 3. For the PlayStation 2, allow you to play DVDs in a time where DVD players were no less than $500. The PS3 allows you to play Blu-rays at a time where Blu-ray players are no less than like $1,000. That's it. That makes sense. But if you buy a gaming console for non-gaming features, something's wrong with you. You know what's so funny? Some of those consoles I mentioned, I paid $300 or more for them. Some of those. I remember my Sega Saturn, I paid $400. $400. You know, the Neo Geo cost $1,000. I didn't buy one of those, but it cost $1,000. You think I was looking for a way to send an SMS? You think I looking for a way to watch movies on it? No. Now you may be thinking that was back then. They weren't trying to incorporate, but even still, I didn't care about that. Even when it came to the 7th gen, I didn't buy Xbox 360 because I knew Netflix was coming. I didn't even buy a PS3 for a Blu-ray player because I didn't care for Blu-ray. In fact, I was siding with HD DVD, but that's another topic. So I knew when I bought the Switch, as Nintendo stated, I was buying a dedicated gaming console. Even if all it did was play games, I'm happy. I was content. So should you guys be. If you're a Nintendo fan out there, I'm not saying you don't have the right to want certain features, but you should still be content with the gaming console that you have, whether or not it gets extra features or not. If the Switch does not get messaging, it does not get Netflix or Hulu streaming services, you should still be happy because Nintendo told you they were making a dedicated gaming console. They said this before the Switch released. So if you bought it for anything outside of that, that's your dumbass. No offense to anybody. If you're offended, it's your fault. It's not mine. But this is my opinion. This is my perception. And some of this is fact. Now, I will say this. I do believe the Switch should have an activity tracker outside of the parental app, similar to what the Wii U did. I enjoyed that feature. Note, it is not needed, but I would like it. It would be cool. However, having said that, I'm content with the way it is. If it does not change and this gives you basically in segments of 5 hours and 5-hour units, I'll be okay with that. It's not as great as it was on the Wii U, but I'd be okay with it because I didn't buy it for an activity tracker. I bought it to play great games. But yeah, I'll be content with it. I mean, the Xbox One version of a tracker actually requires internet. Unhook your console from the internet and see if that thing still works. It doesn't. I tried. I do think the Switch should have cloud saves, or at least allow you to copy or transfer your saves to a multimedia card for an added peace of mind. I do agree with that. There's nothing more frustrating than knowing that if your Switch conks out for any reason, whether you drop it, you break it, or it becomes corrupt, there was no way beforehand that you could have backed up or copied all your saves to a different card or type of media. I do think it needs that. It would just help. However, that is not something that will make or break my happiness with my console. Why? I came from the Sega Genesis and NES and Super Nintendo era, where some games had internal memory, and we all know that eventually dies. No way to replace your saves. That's it. Now, playing virtual console games today, we can save it to a hard drive, and on some consoles we can even transfer those saves to a PC or some type of multimedia device. But even still, back then, if a game cartridge messed up or the memory, died, then guess what? You just lost it. You had to start over, or you had to leave that game on until you found some time to beat it. So for me, personally, doesn't make or break the console, but it could help. Last but not least, I do believe the Switch should allow your Nintendo Switch ID, your Nintendo Network ID, whatever the hell they call it now, to exist on multiple Switches. Now, if that is the case, I will be fine if you cannot play on those. If you can't play on those devices simultaneously. So if I have my name DrFeelGood on 2 different Switches, my profile, I can't play on both systems simultaneously using my profile. That makes sense. But I do believe I should be allowed, if I have a family, I got my wife one, I have one, I got my child one. I don't have a kid, just so you know. And we have 3 Switches. I will hope that they patch in the ability where I can have DrFeelGood profile on all those Switches. And let's say one day I get confused and grab one. Well, my profile is on there and my game saves are as well. So we don't have to actually keep track of our specific Switches in that regard. I will hope that, let's say if my Switch dies on me, that I can grab another one and put the game in, maybe pick up from my last save point, whatever the case may be. But I hope that will be something that they do in the near future. I do. So I'll give you guys that as well. But anyway, that's all I have for right now. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. And as I always say, keep it gaming.